Alrighty, guys, welcome back. It's your host, ID Jester. I'm gonna move the camera over there so I'm a little bit more centered. Let's make sure. You know what? I'm just gonna stop that for now. We don't need to see it. We can see it later. Okay. This is it. This is the big boy one. This is the one we've been waiting for all year. This is the end of 2025 review show. I can't believe this is the third year in a row. We've been tracking everything on Board Game Arena. We've been logging everything. We've been analyzing things. I can give you stats and datas and ratings and everything like that. We've been doing this 3 years now. I've been playing games for 35, 40 years, but I've been organized enough now for the last 3 years. So this is going to be a long video. It's going to be like an hour, maybe even longer. Who knows? Depends on how long I babble. I want to try and make it quick, but just for if you're watching later on YouTube, I'm going to be breaking this up into 3 parts. First part is we're going to talk about December because it's the end of December, so we need to go through the stats and the ratings and the information of what we did in December. So that is in itself a half-hour show. Then we're going to talk about 2025, what we did, how we did. We're going to check and see, what games we played, how many times we played a game, etc., etc., etc. We're going to talk about the 4 months that I took away, where I just left and didn't come back for 4 months. And then we're going to talk about 2026. So we're going to talk about first part, December, give you the information about what we did in December, what our goals were, how the outcome happened in December. Then part 2, we're going to talk about 2025 in the past. And then part 3, we're going to talk about the future and what's coming up in 2026. Each one of these parts is going to take a little while. So again, it's probably going to take a little bit of time. Sit back, relax, enjoy it. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about December. Now, I've already done my 10 favorite games that were new to me in 2025. We had 67 new games that I've never played before in 2025. We had 67 of them. And I did a review show on my favorite 10 of those, talked about those, so go check that video out. I'm not gonna rehash those over and over again here, but what I will tell you is the top 2 were very, very good games, and you'll probably see them on my top 100 games of all time. Speaking of which, I want to mention this several times. Get your calendars out, boys and girls. Get your pen and your paper out. Here we go. We're going to give you some information right here. We have got the information started, and I'm going to just make this full screen so we can just see it. The 100 best board games of all time. 10 nights this year. 10 nights. In the 2026 edition. We're going to start January 15th, and every Thursday and Sunday we're going to have a countdown show. And it's not only going to be just me, but it's going to be special guest host Phoenix Knight. So the 2 of us are going to be breaking down our top 100 games of all time every Thursday and Sunday night starting January 15th, which is basically 2 weeks from tomorrow. No, today's Wednesday, so it'd be Thursday. 2 weeks from tomorrow it starts. Can you believe it? It'll be here before you know it. So there it is. Every Thursday and Sunday at 8 o'clock p.m. we're going to have an episode. That is going to be the schedule, but going forward, if something comes up or he can't make it a certain day or whatever, we have to reschedule. This will be the schedule we're going to try to stick with, but if something comes up again, we'll just, play it by ear if we've got to, change a date here or there. But every Thursday and Sunday, we're going to do 10 games, me and Phoenix Knight. It'll be about an hour episode. It's a great time. I would highly, highly recommend you check it out. It's a lot of fun. You'll learn about a lot of good games. you hear not only my opinions, but you'll hear his opinions on games, and we'll get to converse about things and talk about things. Before this show on the 15th, we're going to have a preview show where we're going to talk about our list. We're going to kind of gloss over games that didn't make the list, things that, we find interesting about our list. We're going to talk about honorable mentions, things like that. Kind of just to introduce you how we rate our games. Was it easy? Was it hard? Was there a lot of surprises? Things like that. We'll have a preview show coming up sometime in the next week, probably in the next 10 days, so that you guys can get on board with that. And we'll announce that once we come up with a date and time for that. So I've emailed him about this, and it'll be on my channel. Now we haven't talked about this, but we might alternate my channel, his channel, my channel, his channel. If he wants to do that, I'm more than happy to share with him. I'm not trying to take all the credit, so it's up to him if he wants to do that or not. But anyways, we're going to be mentioning that several times because it is kind of my one big, super huge event that I have every year. And I put a lot of time, trouble, and effort into it. I mean, I've already spent probably 40 hours on it already, just analyzing the different games and trying to get everything organized for it. And that's not even creating my list yet. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of time, a lot of effort. So I would appreciate it if you guys would show up, or at least, like the video if you watch it later on YouTube or whatever. But it's kind of I find it very interesting. You guys may or may not find it interesting, but we'll see. All right. So that is one thing I wanted to mention. Now, we're going to talk about December 1st in part 1 here. So I'm going to switch over to the next screen here because I've got December's Excel sheet already lined up for you guys to look at. So, we played Marvel United. We played Stone Spire Architects. We played a new game, Star Wars Battle of Hoth, which is a commands and colors type system. But it's obviously uses the Star Wars universe and everything like that, which is very, very good, interesting game. We played Marvel Champions. We played Senseless of the Multiverse. We played Role Player. We played Arc Nova. We played Wingspan. We played Arc Nova again. We played Lord of the Rings, the LCG. We played Blood of the Lions, a new game to us. But I'm not going to go into much detail because it's, in my opinion, a terrible, terrible game. I wouldn't recommend anyone play it. Don't waste your money on it. It's just, maybe you might like it. I didn't like it at all, so I'm not going to waste my time talking about it. I just think it was not well designed. But, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. And then our final game of 2025, brand new to us, was Star Wars the Deck Building Game. And that was a good Euro game, deck building game. And I actually played it. And then that night, Phoenix Knight played it. And we had not talked about this. And it was weird that, he had already scheduled to play it. And I didn't know that. And my game has been sitting on my shelf for 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever, and I've finally decided, you know what? I'm going to pull this game off the shelf and play it. Then we played Payoff Pitch, we played Inside Pitch, Senseless of the Multiverse, Definitive Edition, Marvel Champions, Pentaquest, Marvel Champions, APA, Baseball, Bullet Star, Marvel Champions, Lord of the Rings Adventure Book Game, Marvel Champions, Senseless of the Multiverse, Finspan, Marvel United, The Rise of Black Panther, Marvel Champions, Shootout Hockey, Payoff Pitch, Baseball, Senseless of the Multiverse, Freedom 5, Senseless of the Multiverse again, and APA Golf to round out the season. That's it. We're not playing anymore. We got the Buckeyes game on tonight, and then New Year's Eve, midnight, and it'll switch over. So, with all that said, dun 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 dun, the final totals. We only had 3 new games in December. Again, October, November, and December. The last 3 months, I do not try to concentrate on new games at all. I just try to concentrate on playing games in my top 100 list so I can fine-tune them. Make sure I play a lot of the games that I haven't had a chance to play that year. Things like that. So it always winds up November and December. I try not to play any new games because when you play a new game, it interferes with what you're trying to do to get your list ready. Happy New Year, Christoph. Happy New Year, sir. Happy New Year to you. Thank you for coming by, and thank you for your year of support here on the channel. And enjoy the ball drop over there in 2026. Thank you. So yeah, again, December. Occasionally we'll throw a game in here or there. If it's something we want to maybe think that maybe it'll be a game like Star Wars Battle of Hoth. Is it good enough to make it in the top 100 games of all time? We might give it a shot. And we did. We gave that one a shot. We gave these 2 a shot to see if they could make it in the top 100 games of all time. And then our total for December was 51 game sessions played. Again, every time I sit down to play a game, I consider that a session. Whether it's a 10-minute game or a 5-hour game, all just averages out in the wash, and I count that as a session. We had 51 different sessions. If we look at the totals for the year, we should have this big, bold letters. There we go. What is going on? Chris, how you doing? Happy holidays, my friend. How are you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Our totals for the year, and you guys can't see it because I'm doing it differently on my screen than your screen, but 67 new games in 2025. 67 games that I'd never played before, ever. And I played them in 2025. Now, that doesn't mean they come out in 2025. It just means I had never played them before. There was games that came out years and years ago that I just never got around to getting. I've already showed you guys that list, but I will... let's see, can I bring that list up again real quickly? Because I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to show it. I don't see it, and I'm not gonna spend all day trying to find the right file to bring it up. It's not that important. You can go back and look at all the review shows that I did, and we can talk about things. So, one thing I find, we'll get to that when we talk about 2025. So, December, another huge month for us, 51 games. We end up total 464 games in the year. And we had a total of 67 new games. Again, these are not games that came out in 2025. These are new games to me, never before played. And I'm telling you right now, there's at least 5 of these games that are going to make my top 100 games of all time. Because they're really that good. And it was a pretty good year of games, new games to me. I already did a show on that, so I'm not going to harp on it too long. But December was a great month for us. We played a lot of games that we really, really like because, again, we're winding down the year. We're just going to relax, have a good time. We played a lot of Sentinels in the Multiverse. We played a lot of Marvel Champions. We played a lot of Marvel United. And then we threw in a game here and there that we really, really like. If you look at December, it's pretty much our top 100 list of all times. PentaQuest, Sentinels of the Multiverse, Payoff Pitch, Inside Pitch, Arc Nova, Wingspan, Role Player. I mean, these are all games you guys are going to see in my top 100. FinSpan now. shootout hockey, payoff pitch. There's a couple games that I'm going to say right off the bat, if you look at December, that are not going to make my list of all times. And you can see under there, when you look at the notes section, if I got a bad note, it probably means it's not going to make the list. First game that's not going to make my list, which is killing me, is Freedom 5. Freedom 5, if you don't know, is basically the Defenders of the Realm system made by Richard Launius. And it's incorporated into Sentinels of the Multiverse universe, which, you know, Sentinels of the Multiverse has been my number one game for 2 years in a row. Is it going to be 3 years in a row? Well, you'll have to stick around and find out this year. Coming up again, let's go back. Let's show you, if you didn't see, if you were just joining us, our bestest games of all time, since I'm talking about it. Here is the show dates and times with Phoenix Knight as well. Okay, I'm going to keep hammering this point. Sorry, but you know, repetition is. Hopefully, you'll remember. If I remind you guys enough, you'll probably remember. Okay, so that's pretty much December wrapped up. Again, we don't try in October, November, December. The last 3 months of the year is dedicated to fine-tuning our top 100 list, because that's my holy grail. That's my Super Bowl. That is my Super Bowl every year. My top 100 list of all time. And I put a lot of time, trouble, and effort into that. So that's why I keep track of all the stats and all the ratings and this, that, and the other thing. Okay. So let's talk about 2025, okay? Let's talk about 2025. And we're going to switch out of this, and we're going to go into this sheet. And this is going to tell the story of 2025 for us in a nutshell. Like, I was keeping track, obviously, in Microsoft Word. All the ones in red are new games that have never been played before. And you can see each of the months broken down and everything into a great, you know, I put a lot of time and effort into keeping track of all this information for you guys. And I do need to save this Excel sheet before okay. So, this, you will see, what tells a story. So January was huge. February was our biggest month we've ever had on the channel. We played 70 games in February, which is one of the shortest months, as you all know, of the year. And we played over 70 game sessions. It was a huge month. And then March was the biggest that we ever had, where we had 85 game sessions played in March. We had 85. And if you think about that, that is 31 days into 85. That is more than 3 games every single day. Every single day in March, day after day after day, you have to play at least 3, maybe 4 games. Again, a session for me can be anything from 5 to 10 minutes all the way up to 5 hours. Every time a game is put on the table or played on Board Game Arena or played digitally or whatever, that is a session. So if I play 12 baseball games in a row, that's 12 sessions. Okay, so I mean, a lot of people might consider like, well, if you're just sitting down to play 6 baseball games in a row, that's only one session. Not for me. For me, every game, every scenario is its own session. Okay, so I just take that with a grain of salt. When I say I had 85 game sessions, you're like, wow, that seems like a lot. It might not be, because the game might only be a 5-minute game. Like a lot of games you can play very quickly. There's games on Board Game Arena that you can get done in like 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, so just take that into consideration. I think in the average overall, like every game that I play is about, on average, like an hour long. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so March was massive and huge, and that was following an October. I'm sorry, that was following a February that was massive and huge. And then April came, and then about a week after my birthday, which is April 17th, by the way, if you're interested in getting me something, we quit. We stopped playing. Right? You can see nothing at the end of middle of April, nothing in May, nothing in June, nothing in July, and finally towards the end of August we came back. So it was basically 4 months we took off. So those 4 months that I took off away from board gaming, I learned a lot of things, okay? And I'm going to share some of those things with you guys now as I talk about my experiencing, right? And the reason I was talking about how we had a huge February, I mean a massive February, 28 days, and I played 70 games. And in March, again, 85 games in 30 days. That's 3 games a day, right? And then come April, I hit a brick wall, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And I was not interested in doing it anymore. I was done. I wasn't going to do it anymore, and I quit playing, and we didn't do anything, basically for 4 months. And during that time, I stepped away from just a lot of things. I stepped away from board gaming. Board gaming is great, and I love it, and it's awesome, and there's a lot of great things to say about it. But as a YouTuber, you also see the other side of board gaming. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of dedication. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of, organizing what you're going to be getting and putting things on the table and getting your cameras and getting the lighting and getting everything. And it is a massive commitment to do that. And you're doing it 85 times, which is 3 games plus every single day. Day after day after day after day after day after day. And I think everyone said, "Oh, you just burned out." And I said at the time, I said, "No, I just needed a break." And it's true. I did need a break. And I did need a serious break, because I had desires of getting rid of all my games. I had desires of never coming back. I was playing Warframe at the time, and I was having a great time. I met new people online and was hanging out with them, and I was playing, and every night we'd get together and we would get online and we would play, and it was a lot of fun. And I said, I'm not going back to board gaming. I'm just not going. So I should preface this by saying, again, this is the end of review show, and it's going to be a long show. It's going to be like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going until I feel like I got my point across. If that takes an hour, great. If it takes 2 hours, it takes 2 hours. I don't care. It's my show. I'll take as long as I want. If you don't want to sit here and watch it, I appreciate you for coming by. Thank you for everything you've done for the year. And you can go whenever you want. So just bear with me if you stick around and stay, because I've got a lot to say. There's a lot of important things I want to talk about. So, I was having a lot of fun with Warframe. I was thinking about selling my collections, getting out of board gaming totally, because of it's not that I didn't enjoy playing the games, okay? If you are a board gamer, okay, and you're a YouTube board gamer, they are 2 completely different things. And if you're not a YouTuber and you don't know, all I'm going to try to do is share my experience with you. When you play a board game, like if I get a board game off my shelf and I take it out and I set it down with my wife and we sit down, we talk, we drink, we have a good time, we play it, we pack it up and we put it back on the shelf. You don't get to do that when you're a YouTuber. Like, you don't get to do that when you're a YouTuber. When you're playing the game, you got to play the game. You don't have time to sit around and talk and chat and gabby gab and tease one another. And you're doing all this solo. You're trying to keep your people entertained. You have to look at the cameras. You have to look at the lights. You have to look at, like, the time you're doing. How long is the episode going to be? There's a million things that go into being a board game YouTuber, okay? So, because I took 4 months away, right? As you can see, like May, June, July, nothing. And I didn't come back until the end of August. It was 2 days longer than 4 months, okay? It's interesting because I came back like the 2 days afterwards. So what I'm saying for you guys out there, okay, is for 2 things. If you're just a viewer and a watcher, okay, when you watch somebody like myself or Al Red Sox fan or Phoenix Knight or Cardboard Commander or anyone out there doing their stuff, what I will tell you is appreciate them for doing it, okay? Like the fucking video. I don't know how many times I go to live streams and I am like one of 40 people watching the live stream and it's got 2 likes. And I'm always in the chat typing, everyone hit the like button. People do not, unfortunately, give 2 shits as a viewer about you and your stats and your ratings. They really don't. And that's hard to say, but it's true. It's absolutely positively true. And I'm not ranting about it. I'm just saying this is reality we live in as a board game YouTuber. Like, if I put out a video, right, it'll get like 250 views and like 2 likes. And it gets to be, again, frustrating because you're putting all this time, trouble, and effort into it, and you have people that don't fucking appreciate what you're doing out there. And again, after you did 85 game sessions, that's 3 sessions every fucking single day. Different game every single day. 3 different games played back to back to back, setting them up, getting them organized, getting the cameras ready, getting the time, getting the effort, everything. And then you don't even get people to like your videos. It's like, okay, I'm done with that. Now, I went to Warframe and started playing Warframe. And you know what happens? You play Warframe, you log into the digital program and you play it. And you just start running into people and messaging people, and then all of a sudden you're like in clan and like people are trying to join your clan and all of a sudden you got people you know, and you know what? It's like one click, boom, 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 and I'm in the game and it runs fine, and I can have just as many views. If you go back and watch this, I have just as many views or more of my Warframe videos than I do of my board game videos. So, you have a question. I'm not going to be discussing that during my review show, buddy. You can post it in the comments section down below and we'll talk about it afterwards, but I don't have time to discuss that. I'm sorry. I don't. That's a great question. That is a great question, and I try to help out as best I can. So, again, why did I stop playing board games? It's because I got fed up and frustrated with how things were in reality. In reality, it's a lot of time, trouble, and effort to do this every single day. Day after day after day after day. Videos, everything about getting the whole process. I'm a full-time employee. I work 40 hours a week. I drive to work. I work all day. I come home, and I'm still putting out 2 or 3 videos every single night for you guys. And it gets to the point where it's just like, nobody cares. I left, and I was done, and I was going to sell my stuff. I was going to it takes up a lot of space. Nobody cares. And then after about 4 months, I said to myself, you know what? I miss it, and I enjoy it a lot. And I just need to go back and try it again and see if I still enjoy it and still want to. And as soon as I went back and started playing it again, I fell back in love. And I realized that you should be doing this because you're not doing it for views, you're not doing it for likes, you're not doing it to get pleased by somebody else. You're doing it for yourself. 90% of what I do, I try to do it for myself, but I also try to make it something that's interesting for the people to view, the people to watch. I put a lot of time and effort into making a decent production. You can see in the background here, I've got an image that I had created and saved, and then I got my logo this year is new. I got my new logo this year. You can see up in the corner, and I standardize everything with logos and screenshots and everything, and try to make it Phoenix Nice does a really good job of saying that a YouTube channel really needs to be about the love at the end of the day, what you love at the end of the day. And that's why I came back in August, and I started playing again, and I had a lot more energy with it. I had a lot more desire to do it. I had a lot more interest in doing it, and I was glad to be back. And I guess all the negative things about, whenever you put whenever you have something that's really glossy and shiny, it's like, oh no, I don't want to play that game because it's glossy and shiny, right? You got these issues being a YouTuber, right? So you have to just accept the fact that you're doing it for yourself and building up a community of people that enjoy watching you do what you do and enjoy listening to how you do things. And I guess I learned a lot in 2026 because I took the break. It also cost me the War Room. So if you're not familiar, I was in the War Room show for 5 years, almost 6 years. And when I took this break, the guys that I was with, Rough Swordsman and Nate Lanthram, which were my co-hosts on the War Room show, were not very happy that I was basically not doing anything. And so we got into a little tiff about things. They didn't like the direction I was going. I didn't like the direction they were trying to force upon me. And so at that point, the War Room split apart. They officially left the War Room. Nate left, and then Dean decided if Nate was leaving, then he was leaving. So they technically left the War Room. I continued with the War Room another episode with Phoenix Knight, and then after I went away on vacation and I came back after a couple weeks, and I decided, you know what? It's done. It was a good run. It was almost 6 years, every Saturday, not being able to watch the Buckeyes games, not being able to go out with the wife, not being able to go to the beach on Saturdays, not being able to do anything every Saturday. Nothing. I've missed shows. In 6 years, I think I missed a total of 7 shows in 6 years. I think I missed a total of 7 shows in 6 years. And if you say to yourself, oh, that's no big deal, I could do that. Try it someday. Try it anything. Like, you don't go to work every day for 6 years. Like, you call in sick, you miss work days, you miss whatever. It's not an easy task, let me tell you. It is good to see you. Happy New Year to you and everyone out there as well. So, what I'm saying is it's hard to keep doing things and making changes, and I felt like I was changing things, and I didn't know if I was going to go back into board gaming. And funny enough, the story ends up going like this, and I will tell those story till the day I die, because it's sometimes life. There's somebody out there that's just laughing their ass off at the circumstances that happens to you. Like, I decided to come back and start playing board games again. And 2 days later, that's when the War Room split up. And that's when, they had had enough of me and I had had enough of them. It had been 4 months. They said, if you're not going to be doing stuff, I don't think you should be part of the show. If you want to take a leave of absence, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm going to keep going and, and just play it by ear. We'll see how we go. And the shows weren't very good because I wasn't into it. They weren't into it. We were having conflicts and everything. And so, long story short, Nate decided to quit. He wasn't happy. Ruff decided to quit because he was like, I'm not going to stay here and be with you anymore. I would rather go do my own thing with Nate. And I said, fine, you go do that. And then, funny enough, I was actually started coming back and started playing again. Would that have changed anything if I would have started maybe in July? Or no, probably not. It was probably for the better. I think, to be honest, and this is an important part of the experience I had this year, and the 2025 is going to be known for several things. It's going to be known for the 4 months I took off, and it's going to be known for the end of the War Room. So these 2 points I have to talk about extensively to get my information to share with the viewers so that they understand, so they can know what had happened, because nobody else except for the 3 of us kind of knew what was going on. So the question begs to differ. Well, what if you would have come back in July? Would that have changed anything? And it might have at the time, but in the long run, I think it was probably best that we all decided to call it a show and move on and do our own thing. We were doing it for every Saturday for almost 6 years. It was over 5 years. It wasn't quite 6 years. November would have been 6 years. We quit in August, so it was just a couple months short of October. So it would have been 6 years in October. So every Saturday, and it sounds like a great thing, and it is a great thing, but you also have a relationship with somebody that you've known for 6 years now. Me and Ruff go back 6 years. We've experienced the highs and lows of one another. I know things about him that nobody else might know, and I have experienced things with him. And eventually, you're like family, but you know how families are. Like, families are always at one another. Like, even when Tony was on the show, me and Tony and Ruff, we always had conflicts about issues and things and timing of things and, what should we do? How should we do it? And we worked things out as mutual human beings to try and do the best we could do at the time. But there's always, sometimes there's resentment. Sometimes there's, I had to miss a show and Tony had to miss a show. Like well, I'm like, well, why couldn't you be there, Tony? If you know I was going to miss the show. And then he's like, hey, I had to miss the show. It's just a show. Relax, you know. And then you have issues, is what I'm saying. I'm just giving you examples, right? I'm not saying that anything specific. I'm just giving you, like, eventually you run into problems and issues, and these things build up over time after time after time. And the thing with Nate and Ruff is they're a certain kind of gamer, and I'm a certain kind of gamer. And sometimes we mesh, and sometimes we didn't mesh, and that's fine. But after week after week after week after week after week, I always felt like I was the odd man out because I was different than those two. If you go look at Nate and Ruff, they always kind of get along. They always agree with one another. They always kind of have the same view on things. And I was kind of always felt like I was the third wheel. I always had to be the problem child. I always had to be the one to step in and say, no, you're wrong or whatever, causing a problem. That problem then manifested into other things. And then you get resentments. And then eventually, after 4 months of me being gone, I don't give a shit about playing games. I don't give a shit about the show. I don't give a shit about anything. They go, okay, if you don't give a shit, we don't give a shit either. We're out of here. Okay. And I have zero, let me tell you this, I have zero resentment toward Nate and Ruff at all. I have no resentment towards these guys. I completely understand it's taken a while to get over the issues that we had and, you know, be able to view it from the outside, you know, view it from a personality that's like, okay, you know, this is what had happened, and now you just have to deal with it. And again, I have no resentment for these guys. I am so happy that Tony and Ruff and Nate have started their own show. They're doing a great job together, and I think that's probably the way it should have been. Like, if you watch those three together, that's the show that we were trying to create, but we weren't able to create because I was part of it, if that makes sense to you guys. It's just unable you have to have three guys that have the same kind of views and opinions on things to make the show run smooth. And Tony and Ruff and Nate kind of have the same kind of philosophy about things. I am Wargamer. I am probably ranking Wargame of my three kinds of games: Euro games, sports games, and war games. My Wargaming is probably number 3 for me, as opposed to Tony and Ruff and Nate, who make it their number 1. It's their priority is Wargaming. For me, Wargaming is down, under Euro gaming and then sports gaming and then Wargaming is probably the way I would classify my tiers. And so you have a different philosophy on things. They wanted me to think of Wargaming as number 1. I wasn't going to do it that way. And so now because we were able to split, they were able to create a show that has Tony and Ruff and Nate, and they now have that chemistry without me interfering and being in the way. That's the best way I can say it. Historic Wings, what is going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Happy New Year's to you. It's almost midnight in Sweden. Congratulations, almost time. Yep, you got, about 14 minutes left. All right, so let's finish up 2025, and then we'll talk about going on with 2026. So, again, I came back in August, started playing again, and then you can see September was started getting back into it pretty good. And then October came, and October was another huge month, 59 games played. And then November and December doesn't look like we did anything, but I switched it over to my Excel sheets, so I've been using the Excel sheets. But we had huge November and huge Decembers. So how would I rate 2025? 2025 for me was a learning experience about life and about being a board game YouTuber and what that entitles, and the pressures of the board gaming on yourself, and the pressures of your channel on yourself, and the pressures of your outside, your work on yourself, and then your family on yourself, and everything comes. 2025 is a learning experience that I think a lot of YouTubers out there can learn from, including myself going forward. We're going to have a huge 2026. And we're going to learn from 2025 going forward and how we're going to be doing things. And we're going to look at that here shortly. So, in the end, if we go back to our sheet here, oops. This one. Moved the wrong one. Sorry. So, in Semisis, to analyze 2026, here's the thing. We took literally 4 months away, 4 months and 2 days of the whole year, which is basically 1/3 of the year. We took off. We didn't do any board gaming. We didn't do anything. And we still had 67 new games on the channel, and we had 464 different game sessions in 2025. So, what I would like to do now is show off okay. So 2025, you can see December 54, again, November 55, October 43, September we had 57, August we played 15, April we had 32, March 85, February 70, January 53. So was it because February and March were such a huge 2 months that I decided to just got burnt out and just went away from gaming altogether? That's still up for debate, and I mean, everyone kind of has their own opinions about that, I would think. It probably was a factor, I will say that. But after all that was said and done, we actually had, with our 4 months off, we had as much gameplay in 2025 as we had in 2024, to be honest. So, we had broken this down from January 1st, 2025 till today. Played by board games, we had played Stratomatic Baseball 47 times, Marvel Champions 27 times, Sentinels of the Multiverse 19 times, PentaQuest 13 times, Sentinels of the Multiverse Definitive Edition 13 times. So if you combine that with the 19 and 13 is what? 32. So it would have been 32 total sessions of Sentinels. But I do separate them when I play the difference because I want to know which version I'm playing. We played The Crew, Mission Deep Sea 10 times, Road to 300. You can see this, yes? Yes, okay. Road to 300, we played that 10 times. Cartographers, we played 9 times. Touring Machine, 9 times. Corey Days College Football, 8 times. Stone Spire Architects, 8 times. Welcome to 8 times. We played Dominion 7 times. Momentum Football, 7 times. Payoff Pitch Baseball 7 times. Stone Cold Hockey Ice Hockey 7 times. Title Bout 2 7 times. The Guild of Merchant Explorers 6 times. Inside Pitch 6 times. Marvel United 6 times. Pay Dirt 5 times. Super Mega Lucky Box 5 times. Yahtzee 5 times. The Bloody End 4 times. Bullet Star 4 times. Bullet Heart 4 times. Dio 4 times. Darkest Night 4 times. Evolution 4 times. Field of Dreams Deluxe Edition 4 times. Field Fighting Formations 4 times. Flowers 4 times. Galactic Cruise 4 times. Grand Austria Hotel 4 times. Splinter 4 times. Wingspan 4 times. Then APA Baseball 3 times. Which makes me think that I forgot to do some recording of some things, because I know I played APA Baseball more than 3 times. But that's what it says. APA Football 3 times. APA Pro Hockey 3 times. So how did we end up playing all 3 of the APA games 3 times each? Something is wrong there. Comic Commander Europe 3 times. Fate of the Elder Gods 3 times. And even though I know me and Phoenix Knight had a session of at least 12 games, I only counted the 3 games that I played of it. I didn't count the games that he played. That was part of the Winter in Arkham over on his channel. Golfy 3 times. Grand Prix 3 times. The Lord of the Rings Adventure book game 3 times. Rogue Dungeon 2nd edition 3 times. Role Player 3 times. Season Ticket Baseball 3 times. Shootout Hockey 3 times. Vantage 3 times. Aeon's End twice. Aliens Abyss twice. APA Golf Game twice. Again, I just played that last night. How did I only play it one other time this whole year? I don't know. Ark Nova twice. Arkham Horror twice. Bag of Dungeon twice. Brass Lancashire twice. Cascadia twice. Concordia twice. Clubs and Courses and Clubs twice. Friday twice. Great War Commander twice. Hit the Road twice. The Hunters twice. Legendary, a Marvel deck building game twice. That's got to be a lie too. I know I played that more than twice. There's no way in hell I played that less than like 5 or 10 times. I don't know how that's only 2. I must forget to record them. I'm just saying that. The Lord of the Rings, the card game. It says twice. I don't believe that again. Marvel Dice Throne, Plum Island Horror, Roll to the Top, 2nd season, Pro Football, Star Wars, the deck building game, Too Many Bones, Vaults, Vijay Anagara, The White Castle, Wolfpack, Wormspan, and these are all games that I played twice. One time, Aeon End the Descent, Aeon Den War Eternal, Agents of Smersh, Apex Therapert deck building game, Australia. Wow, I cannot believe this. Villa Treason, Blood of Lion, Clank, Command and Color Napoleonics, Conflict of Steel, Defenders of the Realm, Descent, Journeys to the Dark, Detroit Cleveland Grand Prix, Dice Nuts, Disney Animated. It says I only played that once. I know I played it more than once. Dominant Species Marine, Dominant Species the card game, Draft and Write, Dungeon Crusade, Earth, Eldritch Horror, Fall Classic. It says I only played Fall Classic one time. Something is definitely wrong with this system. Final Girl once, Finspan once, Flashpoint South China Sea, Forbidden Island, Formula D, Freedom 5, Frosthaven, G.I. Joe deck building game, Game Winning Drive, Agista Robin Hood, Hero Quest, Imperium Classics, It's a Wonderful Kingdom, King of Tokyo, Legacy of Dragonholt, Legendary Encounters, The Alien Game, Levi and Mass, Lock and Load Tactical, Heroes of Normandy, Heroes of North Africa, Lord of the Rings dice building game, Lost Ruins Arnik, Marvel Champions, the card game The Rise of Red Skull, Merchants of the Dark Road, Microverse, Mini Rogue, Nations, The Network, Raising Robots, The Rival Networks, Rogue Dungeon, Runebound, Sentinels of Earth Prime, Slay the Spire, Star Wars Battle of Hoth, Status Pro Baseball, Talisman Revised 4th Edition, Talisman the 5th Edition, Terra Mystica, Terraforming Mars, Ticket to Ride Europe, Unbroken Normandy, Venom and Salt, War at Sea, Witchcraft, World Wonders, World War II, Commander, Battle of the Bulge. And that is the list of games that I played in 2025. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's something wrong with the metrics when you're doing a search. Because, there's a lot of these games that I know I played more than this. And I know I played Tally Ho as Historic Wing Set. I even did a review of it. Well, either I did a really bad job of keeping track of what I put into the system, which is a possibility, because sometimes I forget to do things. Okay, so 2025. If you know, I'm going to minimize this here. If you know what I do every year, and we're going to start looking forward here to 2026. Every year, the first game that I play of the year is kind of my special game. In 2025, it was Darkest Night. We played that 4 or 5 times this year. We keep coming back to the same game. We're learning it. It's a brand new game to us. In 2024, does anyone remember in 2024 what game was our first game of the year? You probably don't. But it's right here, and I could dig it out, but I'm not going to. It was Apiary. I played Apiary. I started the year playing Apiary, and we played it throughout the year. So every year I kind of take one game of my collection that I have never played, and I decide that it's going to be the game of the year, that I'll keep coming back and playing it, and I'm going to learn the game as we play through the year, and kind of concentrate. It's always the first game that I play every year. This year is going to be another, not to be outdone, is going to be another game, new game. I actually got it right here. It's a massive game. And oh yes, don't forget, with Phoenix Night starting January 15th, 8 o'clock p.m., Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be doing our top 100 bestest games of all time. Is Tally Ho going to be on there? Is Mag 23 going to be on there? I know Thomas is very concerned about my list this year. He's going to come by and check it out. Not only will he get to see my list, but he'll get to see Phoenix Night lists, hear his thoughts and comments about the games, and I'm sure Tally Ho and Mag 23 is going to be on his list as well. All right, so I came back to this screen so I could show you my game for 2026. It's a massive game. It's a heavy game, and it's still in the shrink wrap. It's been sitting here for like 6 months, maybe longer, waiting for me to do something about it. And I've probably decided I'm going to make this my 2026 game of the year. Hoplomachus Victorium by Chip Theory Games. It is a massive gladiator style game with the Chip Theory components and everything. So, my 2026 game of the year is going to be another new one. Hoplomachus Victorum by Chip Theory's Games. It's a massive, huge game. I think it's like a $150 game. It's been sitting here waiting for me to do something with it. And the only way I'm going to force myself to do something with it is by making sure that I claim it as my game of the year. You might want to start by tearing the shrink. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. I probably should do a tear the shrink on it. I was going to, but spoiler alert, I haven't done that. So, last thing we're going to do is look forward to 2026. But before we can look forward, we have to look back one more time. And we got to look at our goals for 2025. And then we'll be looking at our goals for 2026. How well did we do on our goals for 2025? Okay, so let's look at our goals for 2025. And we'll see how well we did or didn't do for those goals. And I'm telling you guys this as a loving person and with complete and utter love in my heart when I say this to you guys. I want you guys to come up with 5 or 6 goals for 2026. It's not that hard. And then you can go back and look and see how well you did. And not only that, but it'll force you to do things that maybe you don't want to do because you put it as your goal. So, our goal for 2025, going in, you can go back and look at last year's review show. These were the 6 goals that we started. Number 1, 50 to 100 brand new games played in 2025. We ended up with 67. That's with taking 4 months off. Again, I'm not going to rehash that. We took 4 months off, 4 months and 2 days off. And we still got 67 brand new games on the channel in 2025. So I'm going to say that was a success. Number 2, we decided we're going to try and do more games with friends. I played 4 or 5 sessions with Combat Commander. We were doing a regular thing every couple weeks. We've kind of gone away from that recently, but it was a fun time with him. We had a little competition going on, playing games that we were both learning how to play and having a great time with that. We also got to play with Phoenix Knight. We played with Tony. We played with Nerd Workshop. We played with a lot of different people. I would like to still play more and more with friends. I think part of the problem I talked about with having 4 months and going away and quitting, because playing solo is great. Don't get me wrong. It's the best thing in the world to play solo. But it can get boring. It can get overwhelming. It can get where you don't have anyone to feel camaraderie with. And when you play more... Let's see if I can do this. No. Yep. If you play more with friends, I think you will have a better time in the long run with everything. So we did more with games with friends. So I'm going to say that number 2 was a success. Number 3 was more games on Board Game Arena and Vassal. We were playing a ton of games on Board Game Arena and a few games on Vassal, not as much on Vassal. Again, board gaming in 2025 took a big dip for me. So Vassal's more of I would consider a board game convention. So Vassal I didn't use as much, but Board Game Arena I played. I don't know if there's stats I should go on and see, but we played a lot of games on Board Game Arena. And I had a great time playing it on Board Game Arena. In fact, several times I saw people, Phoenix Knight and other YouTubers, playing games, and I say, you should play this game on Board Game Arena because it's so much easier to set up, it's so much easier to run, it's so much easier to play, blah, 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 blah. And it'll allow you to play more sessions of it. One of the reasons I can play 484 sessions in a year, having taken 4 months off, is because I play a lot on Board Game Arena where I don't have to, I got 0 setup time on Board Game Arena. I got no setup time. I got no teardown time on Board Game Arena. I can play 5 games in a row on Board Game Arena. So I'm going to continue playing on Board Game Arena. I think it's a great resource. I don't know what it costs, $40 or $50 a year. It's one of the best investments. And I would look forward to playing with more people and playing a regular session, a regular night with somebody, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Number 4 was fine-tune my collection, where I was going to get rid of the games I don't like, and kind of fine-tune my collection. Okay, for number 3, let's go back. Number 3, I'm going to give myself a thumbs up for that. Okay? So number 1 was a thumbs up. Number 2 was a thumbs up. Number 3 was a thumbs up. Number 4, fine-tune my collection. I did a terrible job of fine-tuning my collection. I sent out a few things to Phoenix. We did some trading, so that was kind of nice. Phoenix Knight and myself. I think we made 2 trades this year. He was getting rid of a bunch of stuff. I was getting rid of a bunch of stuff. We decided to, come up with some trades. I had some stuff I wanted to get rid of. He was getting rid of some of his stuff. So I did fine-tune it a little bit that way, but I still have a ton of games in my collection that I either don't want or don't need or would like to sell or get rid of or whatever to fine-tune my collection. My collection is double the size it needs to be. And I know everyone says this every year. Oh, my collection's way too big. I'm gonna call my collection. I'm gonna get rid of a bunch of stuff. Blah blah blah. I did a terrible job of number 4 because I can't let anything go. I can't. And I took 4 months away where I didn't care, so I was just letting things stack up in the shelves. And number 5, finish my tutorial series for Dominion was my goal for number 5. We had done 8. The first 8 expansions. There was only 7 expansions remaining, and I was hoping to get them done in 2025. I did a whopping 2. I got 8, 9, and 10. I got 9 and 10 done. So I only got 2 done. So again, for number 5, you didn't do very good, Jester. You did not do very good. So number 1 was good. Number 2 was good. Number 3 was good. 4 and 5 were bad, but number 6, we started a brand new tutorial series for Sentinels in the Multiverse for every single hero in the game. How do we do with that? That is like my number one playlist on my channel right now. I've got 49 heroes done for the tutorial series where we go through every single hero and all of their alternates and every single card in their game. Of course, I love Sentinels of the Multiverse, so for me it's a great chance to just talk about it and have a great time. But we did every core hero and every expansion hero from Greater Than Games, and we did the Sentinels of Earth Prime expansion. They have all been done, and I stopped doing it because the only heroes left to do are the Cauldron heroes, and I knew I wasn't going to get them done before the end of the year. So I said now is a good time to stop it. I've done 49 heroes. I think that is a major accomplishment. And, each one of these videos is like 15, 20, 25 minutes, whatever they are. I mean, they're not super long or anything, but still, you're going through every single card and talking about the heroes and what they do and how they do, blah, 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 and they go on and on and on. 49 times is a lot. And I'm trying to have the most videos of anyone in the world that has Sentinels of the Multiverse. I thought I was number 1, but I come across a channel that actually hasn't done anything in like 5 or 6 years. He hasn't done any videos. But according to his channel, he's got over 180 videos of Sentinels of the Multiverse. I don't have quite 180. I'm very close to that. So this year in 2026, I'm going to break his record and become the channel with the most Sentinels in the Multiverse on the channel. So that was 2025. I would say 1 was a thumbs up, 2 was a thumbs up, 3 was a thumbs up, and 6. So I have 4 thumbs up, and unfortunately 3, 4, and 5 were down. So I had four thumbs up and 3 thumbs down. So I'm going to rate myself a B minus. I'm going to say a B minus. I was definitely in the B category, but probably on the low end of B. I could have done better fine-tuning my collection. Yes, I made some trades with him, but there was a lot of things in my collection. I can see games. I've got doubles and triples of copies of games in my collection that I don't need. There was orders from GMT that I somehow ordered several of their games several times. I have VJ Anagara. I have 2 copies of that. I have France 1940. I have 2 copies of that. There's like several games from GMT that I've liked. And I'm just holding on to them because I think eventually I'll be able to sell them. Eventually I think we will be able to sell them. So let's talk about 2026. All right. We've done enough talk about the past. 2025 has its issues. It has its problems. We no longer have the war room. We've had 4 months away. We've had issues. We've had problems. We also had a great time. We had a great time playing with Phoenix Night. We were actually, one of the things I forgot to talk about, and I was going to talk about in 2025. I told you guys there was so much to talk about, and it was going to be a long episode. I'm sorry. But I was invited on Phoenix Night when I was talking about playing more with people, right? One of the things we just talked about, playing more with people, playing more with friends. I was invited on in December with Phoenix Night on his channel where I was participating for the first time ever as a co-host in the Winter in Arkham series that he does every year. And I was honored to be able to do that, and I had a great time playing. Unfortunately, I was going on vacation for a week, and so I missed one of the sessions that he ended up doing that he should have postponed and waited till I came back. And I'm still grumpy about that. It's called Christmas in Arkham, not Holiday in Arkham. It's called Christmas in Arkham. And I'm still grumpy about the fact that he didn't delay it. But anyways, I was honored to be able to do that, and I had a great time doing it and playing with Phoenix. Learned a couple new games and learned how he does things. And I'm actually modifying and interested in what he did in going into 2026, as you will see coming up here. Several things that are coming to my list. So yes, we got a chance to play with Phoenix and hang out and have a great time playing Winter or Christmas in Arkham. I keep calling it Winter in Arkham, but it's Christmas in Arkham. And I was able to give him some feedback that he's hopefully going to help him fine-tune what he's doing on his channel, and he's doing the same thing with helping me. And so I think the more people you can play with, the more times you get to interact with people, the more ideas you can get, the more ideas I get an idea now about I like his idea of Christmas in Arkham. What can I take from that and incorporate it onto my channel and going forward? So 2026 I think is going to be a great year. So let's talk about, again, I highly recommend from the bottom of my heart, you guys get some freaking goals and you put them down in writing for yourself. I don't care if you share them with everyone else. Get them for yourself. Sit down and give yourself some goals. Otherwise, you got nothing to hold yourself to going into 2027. Like, oh, I did this, I didn't do that, who cares, blah, 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 blah. Now, I look at like 2025, I can look back and say, for me, 2025 was a B minus year. Why was 2025 a B minus year? Well, I mean, I did these good things and I did these bad things. overall, it was above average, but just barely. Like, I could have been a lot better. Like, 2025 could have been a huge year, right? It could have been, but it wasn't. So let's talk about my goals for 2026. All right, so goals for 2026, and I'm willing to share these with you guys because I have no problem getting held accountable for these things. No problem. In 2027, I want you guys to make sure that you guys hold me accountable to these. Okay. So, my number one goal is going to be the same thing it's been the last 3 years. Between 50 to 100 brand new games played in 2026. Same as it was last year. We did 67. The year before, we did 132. And the year before that, we did 118. So we've made well over 100. We probably would have done another 100 this year if I didn't take 4 months off. That's a story for, what I talked about before. So 2026, again, I'm going to look at another 50 to 100 brand new games played in 2026. New games, we're going to be getting them in, constantly getting them in. We're going to be playing them, and we're going to have a great time showing them off to you guys out there. Number 2. Again, from what Phoenix did and his Christmas in Arkham, I'm going to try and come up with a weekly series of games that I'm going to be playing each week. Possibly like a campaign type game. I don't know for sure yet if it's going to be a campaign game or whatever, but it's going to be a weekly series that I'm going to play like every Wednesday night. I'm going to play Descent. Or every Wednesday night, I'm going to play Gloomhaven. Or every Tuesday night, I'm going to play something. Like, I'm going to come up with something. I have not finalized this yet, but my goal is to create a weekly series of a game played each week. Possibly a campaign game, because, again, I'm really bad at playing a campaign game because 99% of the games that I play once and I put it away. Play once, put it away. Play it on Board Game Arena, shut it down, whatever. I don't, even campaign games, I only play like the first or maybe second scenario and then I put them away. I'm going to try and force myself, by using number 2, to force myself to do things outside of my box. My box is play 1,000,000 games that are all brand new to me. That's kind of my gig. Like, that's what I'm known for. Like, I play 1,000 games that are all brand new to me, and that's fine. That's my gig. Like, that's what I do. I can learn games really quickly. I share them with people. I get tons of games in. I show them all off. I play them once, and then I pack them up and I put them on my shelf, and I get another game on the channel. And that's my gig, right? That's what I do. So by number 2, I'm going to force myself to not put that game away. I'm going to force myself to say every Wednesday, you're going to have to get this game off the shelf and put it on the table. Because you now have a goal to do this. Number 3 is basically created because of what happened in 2025, right? Number 3 is going to be, I'm going to have more fun times to do things in 2026, right? I'm not going to force myself to play 80 games a month. I'm not going to force myself to play 60 games a month. I'm not going to force myself. I want to do more fun things so that I don't get burned out. I'm not going to force myself into taking another 4-month hiatus, right? So I'm going to force myself into have more fun things to do and other things beside board gaming as well. I'm going to play more digital games. I'm going to play more whatever. I'm going to have maybe every Tuesday night is just going to be play Warframe night or whatever. I don't know. But we're going to have other things on the channel so that I don't feel like I don't have that stress and the problems of what happened in 2025, which I'm not going to talk about anymore. Number 4. And this is a huge one. And as I've been scanning my room and looking around and I go, I have that game, never played it. It's in the shrink. I got this game. I got 2 copies of it. Why do I have 2 copies? Number 4 is get all games played in my collection. The one thing I started doing when I went to Pub Meeple and I was ranking all my games for my top 100 games of all time, what I noticed was I have 1,000 games that I have never played that are in my game collection, because two games will come up and I'll be like, well, I never played that one. I can't rank it. I've never played it. So I've had to go through and my games on Pub Meeple and say, okay, remove that one from the list because I've never played it. Remove this one, remove this one, remove this. I did that like 150 times, and I finally said, okay, I've got a problem here. If I've got 150 games that I've never played and they're in my collection. So number 4 is going to be to get all games in my collection played at least one time. I don't want a game if I don't play it. If it's never been played, there's a problem with it being in your collection. Is probably what I've decided. Like if you got 800 games, right? But like 400 of them are not played, then you really don't have 800 games. You only have a 400 game collection because you've got 400 games you've never played. So I'm going to fine tune my collection by getting all games played, finding out if I want to keep those games, and get rid of the ones that I don't want. Number 5, finish my tutorial series of Dominion. Maybe 2026 will be the year. I've been working on this 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, years. It's been several years in the making. And I can't drive myself hard enough to get it done. I'm up to like, it's not that hard either. It's just a matter of time and dedication, I guess. And my dedication to Dominion was the first year I did this, 3 years ago, Dominion was my number 1 game of all time. And I had a huge desire to make my number 1 game, do a tutorial series for it, to show it off, to talk about it. Well, Dominion for me has dropped and dropped and dropped, and it's not even close to number 1 anymore. So my desire to finish this series is not based upon my love for Dominion anymore. I used to love Dominion more than life itself almost. It was to me, it was one of the best games ever created. But I still agree with it's one of the best games ever created. But the problem is, being a solo player, there is no solo for Dominion. You have no solo bots. You have to two-hand it. There are apps, a Steam app especially, that you can play it against the AI and stuff like that. And you can join different leagues and things like that. But for me, Dominion has fallen down just because it's my love for Dominion is still high. It's just not like number 1 high. Like my love for Dominion's been replaced with other games, I guess. Number 6, finish my tutorial series for Senseless and Multiverse for the heroes. Again, I did 49. There are 76 total heroes. So there's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 26, 27 more heroes I need to do. These are all Cauldron heroes, which is a fan-made expansion. They're not sanctioned by Greater Than Games, but they're, for me, part of the system. So I will do them as part of the core game system. Then those will be all the heroes. Then I will be done with that, and I'm going to start a tutorial series for Senseless and Multiverse and start doing all the villains. So there is somewhere in the neighborhood of over 40 villains in the game now. So looking at every one of the villains and taking a look at them and adding them and yeah, it's a lot of work. But again, for me, it's a fun experience to talk about Sentinels and all the heroes that I love. So, last reminder, that's not it. Let's see here. Last reminder. We have decided to do the bestest board games of all time. The top 100, the bestest of the best. starting January 15th, every Thursday and Sunday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're also going to have our special co-host, Phoenix Knight, with us. He is going to be coming on and giving his list every night as well. And we get to talk about each of these games, talk about why they're on the list, why we love them, and countdown from number 100 to number 1. And it is my Super Bowl of Super Bowls every year. And I hope you guys can join us for that. It's going to be an awesome, awesome time. The last couple of times last year I did it by myself. And it was 5 nights back to back to back. It was January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. January 1st through the 5th, 2025, I did my top 100. And I did 20 games every night. And it was a great time. 2 years ago, I did it with Phoenix Knight. 3 years ago, I did it with Phoenix Knight and Higher Ground Gaming, and we had a great time doing it. It's always a great time, a great experience to sit down and listen to whatever everyone else's list is like, talk about their games, their passion, what they love about the game, and bring up good ideas about things and talking about them. And instead of just me talking about my list, you get to alternate back and forth and listen to Phoenix Knight and listen to what his games are and compare and see how high he ranks things compared to me. So, is that everything? We talked about a lot. 2025, for me, again, is going to go down in history as a B- year. It had some great games, some great times, but there was also that 4-month period that really dragged 2025 down. If it wasn't for that 4-month period, it could have been an A or A+ year because, I mean, we had some months that were knocked out of this world. We had November, we had 16 new games. January of 2025, we had 15 new games. I mean, we were off to a huge start in 2025, and it could have been an A or A+ year. The other thing is, we had 67 new games on the channel, and I would say there was about 10 or 12 duds. I mean, just downright bad, not good, terrible games that really kind of soured me on things as well. If you look at the last couple games that I played before I took my 4 months off, it was the new games were Flowers, Draft and Write Records, Point Blank, Winter Victory, Survive the Island, and Splinter. And all of those games are all fine games. There was nothing that was interesting at all. Nothing that was new. Nothing that I was like, oh, this is a great game. So, I mean, that was also kind of a down moment for me as well. I was playing a lot of new games and they weren't great new games. I was kind of burned out from doing all the new things and playing 3 or 4 different games every single night. Again, if you think I'm just complaining, here what I would say to you is try it yourself before you complain about the fact that I'm complaining about it. I'm not necessarily complaining about it because I put it on myself to do that. It's my fault for doing that. I take full responsibility, so I'm not trying to say it wasn't my fault for that. It was my fault for that, but you live and learn, and in 2026, we're hoping to use this experience to live and learn to be better, right? Again, you want to be better in 2026. I want to be better in 2026. And when I say it's going to help you be better in 2026, again, I say this every year. Give yourself 5 or 6, 7 goals, whatever. And even if you don't share them with anyone, please give yourself some goals. Again, there are many times in 2025 that I sat down and I said to myself, wow, I haven't done any Dominion. I have not done the Dominion tutorial series at all this year. And I got to get that done. I have got to find a time to do that. And I forced myself to do it because it was a goal. If it wasn't for those, I only did it twice, right? So it wasn't like I did it like every time, but I forced myself several times to do it again because it was part of my goals in 2025. And I wanted to make sure I could force myself to do that. And because I knew it was a goal, and I knew at the end of the year I was going to analyze myself. So I am hard on myself. I admit that, and it can backfire on yourself if you're too hard on yourself. But you do need to create your own goals. You need to force yourself to do things that you don't want to do. Sometimes you're not feeling like it. You got a headache. You're tired. You had a rough day at work or whatever. I come home, and I force myself to play the games on the computer, and that was probably a bad thing to do. Like, it was probably not, and I learned that in 2025. If you had a bad day at work, you want to come home and you want to relax. The people that watch your videos would rather see you in a good mood and rather see you enjoying what you're doing than forcing yourself to do it because you feel like you need to do it. So in 2026, going forward, we're going to spend more time just having fun, more time relaxed. We're going to create some series. We're going to dedicate. We're going to hopefully do more things with friends. We're going to hopefully do more gaming. We're going to I haven't even talked about this yet, but in 2025, I mean, how many people remember this? I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to load an image. How many of you guys remember this? Hang on. Oh, I didn't say. Hang on. I gotta. Let's see if I can find it. All right, here's one. There we go. How many of you guys remember this? The WES Board Gaming News. How many of you guys remember that? The WES Board Gaming News with stories for wargaming, Eurogaming, and sports gaming. And I started a weekly show called WES Board Gaming News. And I got one episode in, and the next day, a game manufacturer went out of business. So I had to have a special episode on that game manufacturer that went out of business and talk about them and the terror. Remember, this is April, right? I started WES. Again, there's somebody out there laughing their ass off at the circumstances that happen to me every time. Like, I started this show, I waited to the right time, I start this show, the next day, tariff goes into effect, one of the game manufacturers goes out of business. I have to have a special episode where we talk about this and we talk about the ramifications on how this is going to affect board gaming and blah, 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 blah. 2 days later, on my birthday, the bestest day of the year, my number one game company of all time, Greater Than Games, the game company that makes, that's right, Senseless in a Multiverse, my number one game of all time, decides to go out of business and stop producing anything ever again. And they shut the door. So, of course, I then have to have another. This is supposed to be a weekly episode. WES Board Gaming News was supposed to be a weekly show. I started it. A day later, I had to have a special episode. 2 days later, on my birthday, I had to have another special episode. And then that was it. I couldn't take it anymore and took 4 months away. I was like, I'm done. I cannot handle this anymore. How many of you guys remember the WES Board Gaming News? So I've been thinking about several things going on in 2026. Nothing's for sure yet, but Cardboard Commander has reached out to me to be coming on his show every once in a while. He talked about it. He hasn't actually officially reached out to me yet, but he's talked about it and wanted to see if I was interested in maybe joining his show, his Thursday show every week. And I think that would be a great idea. And we have nothing for sure yet. And maybe he decided not to do that. I don't know because he hasn't reached out to me yet. But that's a possibility. There's another possibility of starting my own WES Board Gaming News show again every week. And something else that might be in the works that I can't talk about at this time. So, I don't think now's the right time to talk about it. So I would just say stay tuned and keep your eyes and ears. Hey Mike, how you doing? Happy holidays, my friend, and Happy New Year to you. And thanks for coming by. Yes, that was. I know I talked a lot about my 4 months off, and it was for me. It's very important 4 months of time, and I know I spent a lot of time talking about it. But I'm hoping to share some wisdom with you guys about this stuff, and what I learned about it. And it was again, there's some higher power up there just laughing his ass off that Jester would start his show and then like the next day have the main a game company go out of business, and then 2 days later have his number one most important game manufacturer go out of business. It's like, it's like if I started a wargaming show and like the next day GMT decided to go out of business. It's like you couldn't write this stuff. I'm telling you, you could not write this stuff. It's just crazy. But it's again, it's been an interesting year. I think it's going to be a good 2026. We got some nice goals. I think we're going to have a great 2026. We're back on track to do a lot of really good things, and I'm looking forward to 2026. And again, learning from 2025 going forward, keeping the important things up front, and so I don't need to take 4 months away. And it cost me the war room. It cost me some friends. It cost me a lot. Like a lot of people just. I mean, again, I think it was a great thing that we split up. In the long run, I always look at things. It drives my wife crazy. I always look at the glass half full. She's the opposite. She always sees the glass half empty. I always see the positive. Like, I lost the war room and Nate and Ruff, and we kind of split, and it was a bad time, and a lot of things came up and situations. But in the long run, like Nate and Ruff and Tony getting together has really solidified these guys, and they turned it into a show they couldn't turn it into with me there in the way. And yes, I was in the way of those two. Like, they are better off, I guess, without me for the reasons I talked about. They think wargaming is much higher on their list than it is for me. Like, wargaming for me, again, I think Eurogaming for me is number one, number two is sports gaming, and number three is wargaming. That's just the way I've always been, and the way I've always done things. And it's not that wargaming's bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I don't put as much time and effort into it as other people. Like Cardboard Commander, like this guy he's amazing. Like he is a full-time wargamer. Like he's in the know. He knows his stuff. He knows the games. He knows like some of the games he plays now. never even heard of. Like, it's crazy. So, for me being on the War Room, which is a great show and is a great time and there was everything, but, I mean, in essence, I don't want to say I was dragging it down, but I was just, it just wasn't as a higher priority as it should have been for myself. And Nate and Ruff were making it a very high priority. And for me, at the time, it was not a high priority at all. And so we had to split, and I lost some friends, and I lost the show, and it was very hard, and it was very difficult. But in the long run, it was better for them. They got to get on their own show. They got to start their own thing. They got to be their own people without me in the way. And then I also got to do things myself on Saturdays. I got to do my own gaming. I got to watch the Buckeyes in 2025. I got to actually watch the games. There was several games that they were on at, like, you know, in the afternoon, and I would always miss those games. And now I got to sit down with my wife and watch them, and so in the long run, I think it was a bad thing it happened, but it was a good thing it did. For the reasons I talked about earlier. So I'm not going to rehash those. So anyways, 2025 was very meaningful for me, and it was very, I do appreciate the support I've had from all you subscribers, the viewers, the people that post comments, the people ask questions, the people that like the videos, the people that are always in the chat. I always see a lot of the same names, and I do appreciate you guys so much in 2025, and appreciate you liking the videos and watching the videos and listening to me. I know sometimes I can be a little bit over the top. I can be a little bit abrasive. I can be a little bit much, right? And I know I can rub some people off the wrong way, but in the long run, the people that stick around with me and understand me know that it's always coming from the heart. I don't do it just for jokes. I don't do it just to piss someone off. I don't do it. I do it for a reason. I do it because I hate Stratomatic, because I hate Stratomatic, and I want people to know that. It's not because I'm trying to be spiteful. I'm trying to save people the time and trouble and effort of being pissed off and upset because they run into the same issues that I run into. I don't do it out of spite. I do it because I do it out of love for the people that like sporting stuff. If you like sporting stuff, if you like baseball sims, I would rather you play Payoff Pitch. I would rather you play Inside Pitch. I would rather you play Fall Classic than spend your money on Stratomatic. It's not because I'm spiteful. It's not because I'm hateful. It's because that's the way I honestly feel. You might feel differently, and that's fine. We can put our arms around each other. We can hug each other, and we can say, I hate Stratomatic, and you can say, I love Stratomatic. And it doesn't affect me. I don't hate you. I'm just giving you my views. Some people don't appreciate that, and they leave the channel and they go away. And the people that always come back are the people that realize that everything I do is from the heart. I do it because I care. I do it because I want to share. I do it because I want to make things better, right? That's kind of the main goal. I want to make things better for everyone. So thanks everyone for watching the end of your review of 2025. I hope your 2026 is great. We got the Buckeyes game coming on in like 2 hours, maybe an hour, or whatever it is. And we're looking for a Buckeyes win tonight. 2026 is going to be huge. Don't forget, Phoenix Knight is also going to do his end of review show. It's going to be another long one. And we're hoping to check that out in his channel here sometime soon. He's going live shortly. In fact, we're going to go offline right now so we can go get him started on his show. So head over to Phoenix Knight's channel, show him some love, hit that like button. Thank you guys for everything in 2025. We'll see you guys in 2026 soon. Take care. Have a nice night and a great 2026. Don't forget your goals. 5 or 6 goals, people. Don't forget.